The borrower is a slave to the lender. That's stated in Proverbs 22:7. Who believes that? When you borrow something, it's expected to be returned, and at times with interest. How many of us have borrowed something with the expectation that it'll be returned or repaid as soon as possible? Yet, life happens and you're unable to repay that debt. So, what do? Does the debt go away? No. Slowly, you get into a habit of borrowing from this person or that person, and before you know it, you're in debt over your head. You start to steal from Paul to pay Peter, as the saying goes. However, there are steps that you can do to prevent getting into debt and becoming financially independent. Although I know many of you are a lot younger than I too was once your age and didn't think of my future in regards to my finances. However, I would like to inform you of a financial plan that I came across a few years back that has helped me personally. I know there are many ways to save and plan, but this is a plan that worked for me. I'm referencing none other than Dave Ramsey plan. Some of you may not know who he is, however, he has changed my life. I wasn't much of a saver and lived from paycheck to paycheck due to my personal spending and my family obligations and responsibilities. One day, I just became overwhelmed with all my responsibilities as a wife, a mother, and a human being. I was tired and thought to myself, do I want to continue to live like this, paycheck to paycheck, and spending more than I make? I worked for social services for 17 years, and I always tell my clients that many of us are one paycheck from being on the other side of that desk. One day, the realization of those words truly hit me. I began to think, the only way to change your circumstances is by taking action, by being tired of being tired and doing something about it. I recalled when I was about 18 years old, I worked for a call center in Pennsylvania, and we would get phone calls back to back for a book by Dave Ramsey. I hated receiving those calls because we had to upsell other books and accessories that the caller wasn't calling about. However, many years later, a name stuck with me, and I decided to look up Dave Ramsey and to see what he was all about. What I can tell you is, I'm happy I did. Although everyone is different and plan according to your life situation and goals, I'm going to provide you with some financial information that you can get started in order to with your financial freedom. As I mentioned, there are different plans to gain that financial freedom. However, I'm going to provide you with the information based on a plan that has worked for thousands of people that have become everyday millionaires following this plan. The plan that I'm talking about is referenced in the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I received that information from the Academic Journal of 2013. He's a financial advisor and a radio host that at the age of 27 years old had to file bankruptcy when the bank he was doing business with pulled his loans and required him to pay over $1 million in debt. Unable to repay his debt, he foreclosed on his home and started over financially. Over time, he developed what is known today as the baby steps. I'm not going to go over all of the baby steps. However, I will mention the ones that will keep you out of debt and show you how to build wealth over time. In baby step 1, you save an emergency fund of $1,000 that will cover small emergencies. For example, the cost of tires for your vehicle, getting a tooth pulled, or a family emergency that may require you to purchase a plane ticket. Although $1,000 may not seem like a lot of money, it can be for some. The purpose of this step is to allow for the saver to feel some sort of accomplishment and motivates you to start on the second baby step. In the second baby step, this step incorporates that you pay all of your debt, such as personal loans, medical bills, student loans, credit cards, car loans. If you owe it, you pay it. In order to be successful in this step, you must create a budget. Before following this plan, I thought that a budget was what I got paid. I would write down all of my bills, pay them, and then what was ever left, I would spend on myself and my children. However, now I know that a budget is used to guarantee that all your bills are paid and budgeting for savings for now and for the future. When you create a budget, it reinforces your goals and bolsters your resolve against the temptations to splurge on unnecessary things. In baby step 3, once you've accomplished that step, you save 3 to 6 months of expenses. In this step, you truly begin to see the benefits of this financial plan as you no longer have debt and begin to reap the benefits of your hard work. Although it can take you some time to save up this money, this step is extremely important. Why? This step is created to avoid going back into debt by becoming a slave to the lender. If you have enough money saved to cover your living expenses, you won't need to take out personal loans or use your credit cards. We will rely on that money you save for this exact purpose, a step closer to becoming financially independent from loans and debt. Although some people have this idea that we will always have some form of debt in our life, that is not necessarily true. Once you have followed those 3 baby steps, the following step is the next step towards investing into your future, which is baby step 4. You invest 15% of your income towards retirement into a Roth IRA and which is a pre-tax retirement fund. When we are young, these are things that we aren't interested in or don't think about. However, as you get older, you begin to think about your future. Initially, when I looked up this debt, I had my doubts. That's because I was looking at this in small numbers. So I did a little research and discovered what those numbers really meant and what was truly captured in this step. First, I wanted to know what a 401k was. According to www.investopedia.com, a 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement plan that allows employees to contribute a portion of their income to the plan without having to pay taxes on it. If your employer provides you with different investment options that are available to you under their 401k plan. From these options, you select those investments that are appropriate for your situation. Since everyone's goals are different, it's a good idea to consult a financial advisor to make sure the investments you choose will help you meet your goals. Because of the various options of a 401k, it is considered by many to be one of the best options or plans for retirement. Although you can borrow against this plan in the future from the money you invested over time, it's not recommended, and I won't discuss that at this time. However, keep in mind that a 401k is an account set up for when you retire or plan to retire. However, I wanted to see proof of some of the benefits of the 401k. I'm on a plan for financial freedom and wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing and that this plan was right for me. In a 401k plan, you put your own money into this fund, and at times your employer will match the amount you put into this fund. This isn't to be confused with a pension, where an employer pays you a set retirement amount per month based on your retirement benefit once you retire from a company. With that in mind, once you start a 401k plan, make sure it aligns with your retirement date so that you know how much you need to invest or set aside to have enough money to have financial freedom as you get older. In this plan, a financial advisor will invest your funds into other investments, and over time, you gain interest on your investment. How does that work? Here's an example. If you make $50,000 a year and your employer matched every dollar you contributed with 50 cents, you would have contributed $2,500 a year, and your employer would have contributed $1,250. So at the end of just that 1 year, you literally just earned $1,250 of free money. If you continue this cycle for 30 years, how much would that 5% investment turn out to be? That's not including the compound interest that you gain over the years from the money that was invested from this account. On average, the rate of return in a 401k is from 5 to 8%. So I decided to do the math with a 6% rate of return over 30 years. If you did the math, you'll see that the initial investment of just $5 over 30 years turns into $214,212. Although I used the 5% investment, imagine what those numbers would look like if you invested the suggested 15% with Dave's plan into your 401k. Now back to the baby steps we initially started with. Although I'm skipping a few steps, I'm going into baby step 7, which continues with wealth building. I only mentioned one of the easy ways to financial freedom, as many employers offer 401ks. However, there are many ways you can invest into your future and towards your financial freedom. Another option would be a Roth IRA, which is another retirement fund. However, I won't be discussing that. There's plenty of stocks, bonds, CDs, and things like that you can invest in to start in your financial freedom. You can create a plan now if you want a financial freedom in the future. You must live within your means by budgeting, planning, and investing. Think about how you want your retirement to look like and plan for that. One of my favorite quotes by Dave Ramsey is this: live like no one else so you can live like no one else.